What is up, greedy guts? It's your boy Big Umami, and boy, isn't the Digitakt just awesome. I've had it for a few months now. As you can see, I've made a few videos about it, and yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, especially for somebody coming from using Elektron machines in the past. My first drum machine was a machine drum, the DOG one, and then back in 2015 I've got an Analog 4, so I'm pretty familiar with their way of doing things and the structuring of the projects, and you know, all the keystrokes and shortcuts and blah blah blah. So speaking of versatility, I love how this machine can basically turn pretty much any sound into any other sound. You can load drum samples, pads, you can actually make synthesizers out of single cycle waveforms, which is awesome. Yeah, it's basically a all-in-one groove box. You can make pretty much whole tracks just on this machine, relying on nothing else. But there is one caveat. The one thing it kind of lacks when using it as a synthesizer, using single cycle waveforms, by the way, I've got a video right there on how to do that, is the ability to do like legato stuff for bass lines, for example, you know, gliding and all that cool stuff that you get from a monosynth. Also, obviously, I mean, the filter is very good, but it's not very peculiar, it's not very characteristic. It doesn't have that, you know, grit and character that, you know, another monosynth might have. A monosynth like the Korg Vocal Bass, or in the case of this video, sorry, let me just unplug it. Voila! The TD-3 is basically a straight copy of the TB-303, and it's got the same sequencer, which is more than 30 years old, and it's not very good. So people have been complaining about the sequencer on this machine for years, and Behringer didn't want to invest in more, you know, R&D, so they just, you know, straight up copied it. It's bad. There's just no way around it. So fortunately, the best thing about the Digitakt is actually the sequencer, because the best thing about Elektron machines in general is the sequencer. And so with this combo, you get the best of both worlds. You get the iconic sound of the TD-3, which is basically a TB-303, and then you get the usability and convenience of the sequencer on the Digitakt. So I'm not gonna talk a lot about this. I'm just gonna go straight into beat making, because today I just wanna, you know, I just wanna jam today, honestly, really. So all of this is just an excuse to have a little jam on these two machines, because this is becoming one of my favorite combos right now. So yeah, let's go, let's get into it. Alright, so for the sake of simplicity, I've already connected the two units, but let me just explain how the whole thing is set up. First of all, you're gonna have to connect the MIDI output of the Digitakt to the MIDI input of the TD-3. After that, you're gonna have to connect the TD-3's audio output into the Digitakt's left input. Then you gotta press on direct and make sure that the monitor is set to yes, otherwise you won't be able to hear a thing. Now, if we go and press a few notes, you can hear the TD-3. If, on the other hand, we turn it off, you see the line coming in, but you won't be able to hear anything. Let's talk MIDI and synchronization. First of all, you need to make sure that the TD-3 clock is set to MIDI, and to do this you have to go press these two buttons together, right here, and make sure that this is lit. If not, you press it. After that, we move on to a pretty crucial part of the setup, because before starting to record, I actually spent a good half hour trying to figure out why it wasn't working properly. We need to go into preferences, MIDI configuration, and make sure that your page looks exactly like the one you see here. Clock receive? No. Clock send? Definitely no. Transport receive? No. Transport send? Yes. Program channel receive? No. Program channel send? No. That's it, you only have to have transport send turned on. Why? Well, because if you turn on the clock send and the program channel send, then the TD-3 is gonna receive clock and CC signals, and it will think, well, surely if I'm receiving these signals, the Digitakt wants me to use my own patterns, right? So in practical terms, the clock and CC signals will override the transport signals. Let me show you what I mean, it's easier that way. Let's turn the CC send and clock send on. Now, if I play anything on the keyboard, it works fine, but if I record anything on the step sequencer, as you can hear, it just doesn't work. But again, if you go into MIDI config and sync, we turn everything off except for the transport, we press play, and voila, just like magic, it works. So I hope this is a bit of useful info for everyone out there using this particular combo. Please note that on the other hand, if you want to synchronize patterns that you already have on the TD-3, then you definitely should keep the clock send and CC send turn on. This is strictly for using the Digitakt's wonderful MIDI sequencer to program notes into the TD-3. And so, with this explanation out of the way, let's do just that. Let's use the Digitakt to sequence some notes into the TD-3, but not before making a beat. So, I've loaded this pretty legendary break from my super popular free sample pack called Jungle Jungle. I use the slice machine to, slice the break. I know I want to lay the snares on all 5s and 13s, so I go into edit mode and put some notes on all 5s and 13s. And I know that my snares live in slice number 3, so I select each one of these and use parameter lock to select slice number 3 on all of them. Next, I'm gonna record some kicks. Cool, I'm gonna add a simple hi-hat. Let me just get it to sound a bit tighter using the ADSR envelope. I'm just doing a super simple pattern in 8 here, but I'm probably gonna do some parameter locking to make it more interesting. In fact, I'm turning the volume down on every other note. And this might be a good time to say that these two sounds, the kick and the hat, are part of my Big Umami Bombs sample pack, which contains almost 200 samples, and you can get it at bigumami.com, and you definitely should. Anyway, I want to make things more interesting now, so I'm looking for new sounds. And you probably know this break already. It works really well with the slice machine. In fact, I hardly had to do any work to it. I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if it fits in the rest of my groove. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like where this is at. Okay, so after working on the drum beat, I decided to speed things up and add a few new tracks off camera. After all, this video is all about how to sequence external synths from the Digitakt, so I didn't want to waste precious runtime on the making of the rest of the beat. It's either that or, I forgot to check if my camera was still recording and lost pretty much all of it. You decide. Anyway, these are the new tracks that I added. A cool piano sample that I made myself, put it in the slice machine and sequence like this. As you can hear, I also use some parameter locks. Here, for example, I set this slice to play in reverse. I also used this trick in my last video to extend some notes in a melodic phrase. The second track that I added was a sub bass, pretty simple stuff. Okay, let's move on to the TD-3. The first thing that we want to do is to turn the velocity under 92. Everything over 92 is read by the TD-3 as an accent. Anything under 92 is just a regular note. Also, we need to make sure that the standard length is 1/16 as on the original TD-3. In chromatic mode, I'm gonna set the root note to D, because that's in key with my song. Cool. Now, this is where it gets weird. When it comes to bass lines, I'm very rhythm oriented, so I like to figure out where to put notes before actually figuring out which note they are.
I hope that makes sense. For example, at the moment I already know I want a few short notes at the very end of the sequence, just like so. And I'm not really sure what's next, so let me just punch in a few notes in the sequencer and I'll go from there. Now that I have a solid rhythm, I'm going to figure out the notes and also, very importantly, where to put the slides and the accents. In order to change the note, you use parameter lock knob A. In order to make a slide, on the other hand, you just put two notes next to each other and you use parameter lock to make the previous note longer than 1/16, like so. And after a lot of parameter locking, this is the pattern I ended up with. I like the notes placement here, but this is just bar 1 out of 4. So in order to copy exactly what I did, note by note, automations included, I'm just going to use this shortcut. Keep all the notes that you want to copy pressed and press the record button. To paste, keep the destinations buttons pressed and press the stop button. I'll do it once again here. A few adjustments here and there, and we should be good to go. Lastly, I just want to add some shakers, mostly because I think they'll sound good, but honestly just because I want to do this. Damn, it feels good. Cool, I think we're done here. Let's have a little jump now, shall we?
And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I just wanted to remind you that the setup and connection tutorial I made at the beginning of the video should work for basically all monosynths. But when, you know, things are not working quite properly, just go into the menu and, you know, like try and check and uncheck all the boxes in the menu and try to see what works for you, because, you know, that's what I did, honestly. Try it and do some, you know, troubleshooting. If you know that something is playing back but then the sequencer doesn't work, then you check off the transport button. If conversely the sequencer turns on but then there's no notes, then you have to turn on the note receive and send and whatever. But yeah, it's a trial and error kind of process. It can be frustrating at times, but I'm sure you will get it. Here's some more Digitakt videos for you, and yeah, I love you guys. Please tell your mom, your dad, your friends, Reddit friends, Twitter friends, Facebook friends, I guess. And yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, yeah?